You should carefully consider whether trading is suitable for you in light of your circumstances, knowledge, and financial resources. You may lose all or more of your initial investment. Opinions, market data, and recommendations are subject to change at any time. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results. This is training. This is something you will research and make sure that it fits you. So please take notes. Marina Villatoro of the Trader Chick is here. She's going to give us 4 steps to simplify your day trading and dominate the market under any condition, which is very, very apropos right now because it's kind of crazy out there. Her website is thetraderchick.com, and I have a little bit of a background, although she's going to tell you a lot more about herself, and I think that's she's very cool. She specializes in helping people to day trade with confidence and ease. She simplifies the process by completely breaking down the art of identifying high probability trade setups. Even if you're just getting started, you could learn to day trade profitably and read the markets like a pro. You'll just be amazed at how simple it can be.
Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everybody. Hope that you guys are all ready for the weekend. I can't believe it's already almost mid-June. It's absolutely bonkers how fast this year is flying. It's crazy. Can't keep up with it. So I'd like to just say hello, and I'd like to know, where are you guys coming from? I see that the room is starting to pick up and that we're starting to get a lot more people. Where are you guys coming from? I'd love to know who's here, who is sitting here, because you guys took that time to be here. And the more you interact, the more you could actually get out of it. And also, it's cool to have a community, right? Tacoma, Washington. Nice. Hi, Steve. You're from heaven. Okay. Is that for real or a joke? Joy is from Virginia. Wonderful. Benjamin, you are from Ghana. My one of my really good friends' son was born in Ghana. They lived there for like, I don't know, like 8 years. Joyce from Ireland. Very cool. Wow, we have people from everywhere. I mean, literally almost like the 4 corners of the world. Pretty amazing. But thank you everybody for taking that time out, because I know how much our time is valuable, and the fact that you guys are here goes to show that you want to learn. And that's the whole point, right? Being on these summits, it's not only about, sitting and kind of just being a spectator and learning from the sidelines. You could totally get in, and I'm here for you to get into the questions and become more interactive. So please ask all the questions you have, because I know that we have many, and the more you ask, the more I can help as well, right? So my goal is obviously to teach you guys something, and I always say to my sons, if you could get one thing out of the class or the book or whatever, that one thing, and apply it immediately, that could be the one thing that completely brings you to that new level, right? To that new place that you want to be. So my goal is for you to get at least one thing out of today. Whatever that one thing is going to be for you, you'll know it'll stick with you, right? But asking questions also really, really helps become more interactive, right? Like a lot of times people are like, oh, I have really stupid questions, but there are no real stupid questions. If you have that question, chances are a lot of other people do too, right? And a lot of times people don't realize that they have those questions until somebody else asks that question. And they're like, oh, yeah, I have the same question. So go for it, right? Like the point here is ask any question that you have. So here we are today. I am Marina, the Trader Chick, and today I want to talk about 4 steps to simplify your day trading and how to dominate the market under any condition. Like Sherry said, the market has been completely nutty, and it's been nutty for, I would say, probably since COVID, more or less, right? First, when COVID has started to become quite erratic, and then once the war happened in the Ukraine. So we're talking a couple of years that it's, fluctuating more than we are accustomed to, right? And at this point, it's actually become like our norm. And it's important to be able to understand that you could still completely be successful regardless of what the market is doing. The most important thing is to understand it. And that's my goal today, is for you guys to be able to see it, and also in a much more simpler kind of a way. I am Marina, the Trader Chick. This is me. And I am an expat in Barcelona. I've actually been an expat for over 20 years at this point, to be honest with you. We were expats. We've been living in Central America for 20 years, first Costa Rica, and then we lived in Guatemala for 14 years. And we just literally, my family and I moved to Spain less than 4 months ago. And it's been the best experience and the best move for sure. But I am an expat, and a lot of times people ask me, "Oh, how could you be an expat? How's your internet and all this?" And I'm really happy to help you guys because I know a lot of people really are constantly thinking about relocating, but they don't really have any reference points. So if you do have questions, I'm here to be able to help. So you can email me directly to ask about that. I'm happy to help. Before I became a day trader, I was actually a fitness instructor and a travel writer. And why do I talk about this? The main reason is a lot of people believe that they have to be like a math, kind of a math whiz or financial background or economic background or even like a software engineer kind of background, but none of that is true. You do not need to have any of those skills because that's the beautiful part about day trading. Anyone can do it. That's the coolest thing. And if I was a fit instructor and am able to do it successfully, trust me, your background is probably it's just as easy for you to work with, right? So I really recommend doing this. Hang on just 1 second. Okay, there we go. Okay, so another thing is I'm trilingual. Now, the main reason I bring up that I'm trilingual is because one thing that I noticed when I was trading, so I've been trading now for over 11 years, but the first couple of years, I have to tell you, I really struggled. So I am originally a Soviet Union refugee. I obviously my main language, my mother language is Russian, but we moved to the United States when I was really little. So instead of learning a new language, I just kind of continued learning, and English was just that language. So English is my main language, but I obviously because I've been living in Central America and Latin America and now in Spain, I speak Spanish fluently. But I ended up learning Spanish in my late 20s. And why is that different? Because when you learn a new language, and if anybody here has either, a second language or a third language, and you learned it in your later years, you know that it's a process, right? It's this process. You have to commit to the process. You have to be disciplined. You have to be practicing. It's this whole process. You constantly are translating stuff in your head. You're bringing it out. And then one day, if you continue with the process, you wake up and you just start to speak the language, right? I mean, I'm fluent. I'm not a complete native speaker, but I could certainly be in any conversation and completely hold my own. So why do I bring this up? The main reason is I decided after struggling to apply how I learned Spanish to learning the market. Because one thing I started to notice is that the market has its own language. And when I said to myself, you know what, I want to look at it as if though it is its own language. And I started to look at it as if though I am learning a new language, everything changed for me because the market does speak to us. It has very specific things that it tells us. And that's what I want to really focus on today. So you could totally simplify the market. You could totally simplify what is actually in front of you. Because the problem is with financial markets and day trading is that there's no barrier to entry. Anybody who has a little bit of money could just start donating their money to the market without even understanding what's going on. And then they're like, oh my goodness, I lost the money. It's gambling. It's horrible. But they don't even know what the difference is with going long or going short or what is divergence. They don't understand the basic language, and that's why they lose. So when you understand the basics and the basic language of what is in front of you, I can guarantee that you will take your trading, your investing to a completely new and successful level. And that is what I want to go over today. And the coolest thing about trading, guys, is that you can do it from anywhere in the world. And I get a lot of times people are like, well, how's the internet there? I lived in Guatemala for 14 years. And there were times when I visited my parents in New York City and their internet was worse than the internet I had in Guatemala. You can't use that excuse anymore today. Internet is everywhere. We have it everywhere. All you need is an internet connection and your laptop, and you can literally do it from anywhere in the world. Before COVID, I used to do a lot of in-person events, but obviously with COVID, I had to stop that. And since then, I actually prefer doing these online events. I find them to be a lot more, I guess, because there's so much more people, so many more people from all over the world could join in. It just makes it that much more fun, right? To be able to do that. Now, before I continue, I have the entire presentation for you guys for free, so you can follow along. Go here, makingofadaytrader.com. Go here, makingofadaytrader.com, and you're going to be able to get the whole presentation and work with me as I go through it. And then you could also use it during the replay at your own pace. So go here right now. It's totally free. It'll come to your inbox right away, makingofadaytrader.com. All right. So what are the basics of trading? This is where we want to start to begin with, right? What are the basics of trading? First and foremost, you need a platform. Guys, you cannot be a Formula One driver in a minivan. You can't, right? You cannot possibly think that you're going to succeed as a Formula One driver when you're driving this rinky-dink minivan. You cannot be a professional trader if you don't have the proper platform. So you do need to find a good platform. And because I started 11 years ago, there was only like 3 or 4 platforms out there back then. Today, there are so many good ones, right? There's obviously some bad ones and good ones. So if you have problems or questions, I am happy to help you. I have literally seen them all. So I am happy to help you guys find the right one that works for you. You could email me at thetraderchick@gmail.com or go to my website, thetraderchick.com, and I'm happy to answer any questions you have about that. I personally use only 2 indicators. So here's the thing. Everybody thinks that you need to buy the newest indicator or the flashiest software. When you have a good platform, you will have really good free universal indicators. That's all you need. Okay, you do not need to go and spend more money on other stuff. I personally use only 2 indicators. I use EMA lines and the MACDs and nothing else. And that's all I need. One chart, keep it simple, right? You don't want to overstimulate yourself. I used to be in constant analysis paralysis. I had 10 indicators, I had 3 monitors, and I got rid of all of that. Completely got rid of it because it was not doing me any good. Now, I want to talk about the most important thing, market movement and the breakdown of a trend. Look, we all know that there are 3 trends, right? We know that there's an upward trend. We know that there's a downward trend. And logistically speaking, we know that there is the sideways trend. But the thing is with the sideways trend, this is literally where you lose all of your money. Why? Because this is the indecision zone. This is the consolidation area. This is the chop, the, I don't know, the channel. I mean, whatever word you want to use, this is it. The thing is, it's a place where there is absolutely no movement, right? And we're really going to be talking about this and tackling this because if you stay out of it, 2 things will happen. 1, you're going to save yourself a lot of money. 2, you're going to learn how to take really powerful trades after the sideways market moves out of that area. Okay, so trending markets, we have the upward, the downward, and the sideways. And this is usually how they look, right? There's many different ways of doing this, right? So I just want to do a really quick basic understanding. What is an upward trend? It's literally when each pivot is higher than the next. Literally, you're moving upward, okay? It's called the bull market. It's called, this is where you go long. So when you hear somebody say, I'm going long or I'm buying, this is usually in an upward trend. So what does that mean? It means super simple. You're entering at a lower price point, exiting at a higher price point, and taking the money in between. That's it. Nothing else to it. Entering low, exiting high, profit in between. You're going long. This is when you are buying. All right. What's the downward trend? It is when each pivot is lower than the other. Excuse me. is lower than the other. Okay, pretty simple. This is where you are selling. This is when you are taking a short, when you're going short. What does that mean? Super basic. You're exiting you're entering at a high price point, exiting at a lower price point, and then taking that money in between. And if you're going to sit here and think, oh my goodness, but this is when this is happening, that other people are losing money. And, this is when, I could gain and somebody else loses. I hear this all the time. Who cares? Who are these other people that you're so concerned about? Look, if the technical analysis is telling you to go short, guess what? Go short. Take that opportunity, because this is actually when the majority of the traders make even more money. Going short, selling, okay? You're shorting the market. When you are seeing that the market, technical analysis is telling you to go short, you're entering a higher price point, exiting at a lower price point. This could be also called the bear market. I don't care what you want to call it. The point is, if the technical analysis is telling you that it's good, that's when you enter. Okay, that's what it's all about. Now, let's talk about consolidation areas and the transitional areas. This is the trader's worst enemy, and we're going to learn how to spot them and how to avoid them. All right, what is a consolidation area? It's literally a flat, right? It's flat line. It's when the market is bouncing in between two areas. There's absolutely no real direction here, right? So why would you want to put your hard-earned money into a market that looks this crappy, right? So here's the reason why. I'm going to explain it to you really simply. Trading is an emotional activity, right? We know that it can become a very emotional situation. What does that mean? It means that we are telling ourselves stories. We are not really being, I guess, logistically looking at what is happening to us. So what is a story? I'm going to give this to you in an easy way to explain it. Imagine you just met somebody that you like. It could be either a romantic new possibility or a friend. It doesn't matter, right? It's pretty much similar idea. And you really enjoyed hanging out with them. And they're like, hey, you know what? I'm going to have a party in the next couple of days and I'd love for you to come. Let me call you tomorrow to give you all the logistics. And you're all excited. You're all excited and you're like, yeah, definitely. Then the next day comes and goes and that person never calls you. And what starts to happen? You start to form stories in your head. What did I say to that person? Did I say something wrong? Did somebody else tell the person something about me? Somehow our minds always go to negative stories. I don't know why that is, right? But that's just how it is, right? It's the ego, the human psychology. Then 2 or 3 days later, before the party, this person calls you and they are like, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. My phone fell in the toilet. I lost everybody's contacts. I finally was able to retrieve it and I'm calling you. So that was a story that you created, right? It was a total lie. It was actually a very negative story, but that's a story, right? It became emotional. It didn't serve you. You started to feel bad about yourself, and none of it was true. So, what happens when we are sitting in a market that looks like this? We start to create stories without even realizing it. But now that I'm going to tell you about this, you're going to recognize that you are telling yourself these stories. So, there's only two types of traders in the world. It doesn't matter the amount of traders we have in the world. Is only two. One is the trend is your friend type of trader, right? They're going to be looking at this market and they're like, you know what? The market's been going up all day. It's going to continue. I'm going long. Then there's the contrarian trader, which is the other category. They're going to look at this market. They're like, you know what? The market's been going up all day. It's got to correct. I'm going for a short, right? Those are the two stories. The reality is, guys, there's nothing going on. The market is flat. You know what you need to do? You need to be like, you know what? I'm staying out. I don't know what the market is going to do. I'm sitting out of this market. That is the reality of it. So those two stories you tell yourselves aren't true because the market is flat. And who knows what it's going to do, because it can continue or it can completely transition. But that's not for you to decide, right? Because as the individual retail trader, we sit and we listen to what the market is telling us. And right here it's telling us, don't touch the market. Whenever we see consolidation areas, don't enter. You need to have that strength to get out and not be in the market, because a lot of times people believe that we have to be in and out of trades. No, the most important thing a day trader can do is sit out and be patient until there is a massive confirmation. Okay, and sometimes it could be really small consolidating areas. I call them interim areas. Sometimes they could be much larger, but if you don't see these areas, you're going to miss out on the breakout trades or the new trend trades, because those are the ones that make you the most amount of money. Why? Because you're going to be getting in and out of this crappy market, and you're going to end up losing everything, become super emotional, and maybe even go into revenge trading. And we've been there, right, with the revenge trading. You don't want to go there. It's a lot of wasted money. Excuse me, I needed to drink some water. Okay, so this is important. You need to stay out of these markets. Now, how do we recognize these markets? How do we recognize when these consolidating areas are happening? And they're called through areas because the market respects areas and we need to respect them as well. So what are areas? Support and resistance areas. Resistance, support. Okay, we need to understand them. We need to respect them, but you also have to be able to know when they are forming. So let's talk about this. Excuse me. What exactly is a resistance area? Resistance area is literally the ceiling of the market. It's the ceiling of the market. What does that mean? It means that you're going up and the market starts to hit a certain area 3 or 4 or more times. Okay, you need to draw it in. You have to draw it, and every single charting platform gives you some sort of a drawing tool. You have to have it in. You cannot have a mental resistance or support area, because when you're in that market and your adrenaline is pumping high, you will miss out on, you'll forget what is happening and you won't be able to protect yourself. Okay, you have to have these areas drawn in because you don't want to be entering into a resistance and a support area. Okay, you need to understand them, you need to draw them in. What is a support area? It is the floor of the market. It is where the market is hitting over and over and over again 3 or 4 more times. It's when the market stops a trend. Will it continue? We won't know until it tells us. But in the meantime, we know that this is not the place to enter. Okay, and you need to understand these. You need to have them defined. And it's so simple and it's free. That is the beauty of all that I'm showing you guys. You do not need to buy any fancy schmancy softwares, algorithms, because we could do this all right here. Because even if you get the most expensive, the most updated algorithm software, you still need to know where are the areas. You still need to know where's the consolidation area. You still need to understand where and what to stay out of. Okay, and that's exactly what is happening here. Support area, resistance area. This is how we also can mark off the channeling areas, because we are now seeing where it bounces on and off. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay, bounces on and off. This is where we are recognizing what is happening, and we can stay out of it as well. All right, this, look, guys, look at this ugly, ugly, ugly behavior, right? Does this look ugly to you? Because let me tell you guys, I wouldn't put a penny into this market because I don't know what it's going to do. I have no idea where it's going to go. And I'm certainly not there to judge or to predict, because that's not my job. I will never be able to predict or ever will be able to beat the market. And right here, look at this one. Look at the erratic behavior, the movement. You cannot beat this, guys. You cannot do anything with this. Okay? So it's got to be understood. It's got to be drawn in. It's got to be completely ready for you to avoid. All right. Now, the main question is, I get a lot of people saying to me, well, how do I know? How can I spot it when it first begins? And that's a great question, right? Because a lot of times it's hard to understand how we could spot it. So this is where reversal areas and divergences are absolutely amazing. So what are divergences and reversal areas? Reversal patterns, double tops, triple tops, double bottoms, triple bottoms, head and shoulders. This is the trader's map to shift in direction and trend. And they are so simple to spot and so amazingly effective. Okay, so effective. This is a double top that turned into a triple top, right? Now, I get a lot of people like, well, when I see the reversal pattern, that means I'm going the opposite direction. No, that's not what it means. There is a high probability that it can reverse, but it hasn't reversed yet because it could continue on and become an actual resistance area or support area, and it could continue. But what it is telling me is that the market is completely losing its strength or has lost its strength. And I never want to be in a market that is not moving in those in with strength in the direction that I want it to go, right? So reversal patterns. You need to be able to understand them and you need to stay out. Okay, now what is divergence? I personally use the MACDs. The MACDs for me are my holy grail. So when I use the MACDs with the price action, as you can see here, you can see the price action. It is a perfect double bottom, right? But then look at the MACDs. It's starting to go in the opposite direction. That is the divergence, right? They are diverging in that particular area. So what does that say to me? First of all, it's telling me that the market is totally losing its steam. It's totally losing its energy. So that means I want to stay out even more so whenever I see divergence with a reversal pattern. Because there are times that I also see right here, you can see that the market is going down, but it's totally flat right here. Okay. So that is showing me that there's divergence happening. And then when I see a reversal pattern with divergence, I stay out entirely because at that point, I definitely know that the market is completely dead and I don't want to be a part of it. I'm a very conservative trader as well. I don't want to just give my money away to the market. I don't want to donate it. So when I am getting these very distinct, very impactful words, they're literally like words, right? The language, I already am reading it and I'm already staying out of it, right? So this is another perfect example of divergence and all that, okay? So I want to now put it all together. First and foremost, remember, go to makingofadaytrader.com. You'll be able to get this right here, this sheet, this presentation, and you'll be able to follow along with this presentation, okay? So please go here, makingofadaytrader.com. Okay, guys, go here, makingofadaytrader.com. Hello?
I was just going to tell you, I put it in the chat as well.
Okay, great. So guys, you can then go directly in the chat and it'll take you right away to there. So let's put it all together, right? Because when you are, learning all these new words, now it's important to put them all together so that you are able to talk or read and see what's going on, right? Now, everything that I just showed you could be applied in any market with any instrument. So now let's apply it. We all heard about the breakout trade, right? We know that the breakout trade is probably one of the most powerful and most highest probability trades out there. But if you don't understand what's going on beforehand, you won't be able to catch it, right? You'll miss it. So what is a breakout trade, right? So like I mentioned earlier, you need to be drawing in your areas. You need to draw in your resistance area, draw in your support area, because you need to understand what is happening. So let me tell you guys what is a breakout area, a breakout trade in very easy layman's terms. Imagine that you are living right here. This is you right here at the very bottom of the price action, the lowest point. You're living there, and your best friend or your sister, brother, they live completely north of you, right? And they called you up and they're like, hey, I'm having an impromptu barbecue. You want to come over? And you're like, yeah, got nothing to do. I'm coming over. So you've been there 100 times. You know the road like the back of your hand. You hop in your car, you get in, and you start to drive. You get on the highway, you're full of confidence. But all of a sudden, there's this huge construction area, and it's a detour, right? There's this big detour, and they're telling you got to get off the road because there's construction, and you get off, and you are in a place that you've never been before. This is what happens to me. I start to really stress. I don't know where I am. Google Maps or Waze hasn't caught up yet to give me an alternative route. So now I'm like, I hope that they don't stop with the detour signs. I hope that they don't, because a lot of times, sometimes you are like taking on a detour and boom, you got to figure it out for yourself and you have no idea where to go. I start to stress out. I don't know where I am. Are they going to reopen the road? Do I have to take these tiny little streets for the rest? So my mind is in constant uncertainty and stress. Where is that? This is that flat consolidation area zone, right? It's that zone of uncertainty. Do I want to be putting my money in there? Absolutely not, right? But then all of a sudden, the construction worker says, okay, guys, the highway is back to normal. You can get back on right here. Boom, you get on the highway. You're back to your place where you understand and you are zooming. That's the breakout trade. It's that confidence of boom, that market has just broken through and it's continuing on. Okay, hopefully that makes a little bit more sense when it's told in pretty simple terms. That is the breakout trade. But if you don't draw out that uncertainty area, you're going to miss out on that trade. Okay, so again, this consolidation area, this is that uncertainty zone. You want to stay out, but you also need to draw it in, because once you do, boom, you can see when the market explodes and starts to go in that direction. So how do I take my trades, like the breakout trades? I always draw in everything. Look, guys, there is a saying in day trading, everything is to the left. Okay? What does that mean? Everything to the left. So it's kind of like there's this really interesting book called The Art of War. And the author says the warrior dies before the battlefield. What does that mean? It means that they are fully prepared. And when they get to the battlefield, there's no more questioning or doubting. This is what should be when you are entering the trade. Then you won't have that, oh my goodness, please, oh my God, praying, oh, please go in the right direction, because then you haven't done the work. And when you are in the live market with real live money, your adrenaline is pumping like a Formula One racer, and you're looking to the left and you have nothing drawn in, you're going to forget why you even entered, and you're going to be sweating. But if you have everything drawn in and you're understanding, okay, I have a resistance area here, there is massive movement, there's no divergence, this is a trade that I have taken hundreds of times. I know that this breakout trade is going to work. Okay, I take all my trades off of my EMA lines, because if you think of yourself as an archer, have you guys ever seen an archer or like an archery competition? Those archers don't just walk around randomly and start shooting their arrows, right? They have a very distinct location where they stand from and a distinct target. That's what a pro trader is. We put in an order. We never enter a market. We tell the market where we want to go and where we want to exit. Okay. So I also been telling to you guys about there's two very powerful trades. One is that breakout trade, and the other one is when it's a completely new trend, the transition trade or whatever. I personally call it the initial reaction trade setup, because it's the initial move when the market has finally transitioned into a new trend. Okay, think of it like this. Imagine yourself, you want to go jogging, right? You are all ready to go. You just put on your jogging clothes, your sneakers, and you are out the door ready to go, right? This is, if I was to bet on you, I would bet that from that doorway to the first mile and a half marker, you're probably going to have the most amount of energy and whatnot. And then you might start to, waver, get tired. Maybe you'll take a energy pill, an energy gel. Maybe you'll just be like, forget, I don't want to be there. But in the beginning, that is when your most amount of strength is, right? It's the same thing for trends. When you have a new trend, like it just transitioned, changed direction, that's usually when you have the most amount of movement. Again, you need to have this drawn out. You need to understand where there's divergence. You need to understand where there was an area, because that's how you can do it. All right, so I want to take you guys into the live market just to show you how I do this. Okay, so here we are in the live market. So I usually draw out my areas right away. Now, this is interesting. You see here, we have a very distinct head and shoulders, right? That's the beautiful part about head and shoulders. So when I am spotting this type of a head and shoulders, I'm not going to think that the market is going to actually change direction, but I know that it has lost complete amount of strength. And boom, look at that. It did move up into another area. Okay, so this is how I personally read the market. This is also another very good example right here. Okay, so here the market is going up and continuing up, right? Look at this. Look at the divergence we have here. And what happened? Boom, we have a massive area back and forth, right? So this is how I spot, this is how I start to read the market, to really be able to understand all that is going on with the market. Okay, so that's how I personally read it and see it. Let me know if you guys have any questions about this. Hang on a second here. I'm showing you the wrong thing here. There we go. Okay, there we go. Too many tabs open. Okay, guys, so here's the reality. We have absolutely everything we need to be successful. We have these amazing summits, these live presentations, we have YouTubers, we have podcasters, we have books, we have all this. But the reality is, how do you know that you are doing it right? How do you know that you are doing it right? Who's there to be able to help you with that, right? Because all of this is great. But the real question is that you probably are asking yourself is, how do I really get started? Like for real. And this isn't from beginners only. I get tons of seasoned traders who have been trading for ages but still are inconsistent and not profitable, asking me, what can I do to turn this around to be profitable consistently, right? Because the goal here is the long game. It's not that one-off, because let me tell you, those one-offs, they never last. You can have an aggressive win, but you will have an even bigger loss if you are not consistent, if you do not have that type of a strategy. And a lot of times it really boils down to lacking the basics. You know, I always say you cannot put in a window if you don't have a wall built in, right? If you don't have your foundation, it's impossible to go for these big trades because you don't have that foundation. And a lot of times it's literally just overlooking those basics and not really understanding them. But once you get it, the aha moments are incredible, right? It's literally like being in a car. When you hop in a car today, you don't even think about the basics, right? So me and my husband, we have a 19-year-old who just learned how to drive a car. And when we first sat down with him in the car, and we're like, all right, buckle up, put your foot on the clutch, put your other foot on the brake, make sure you put your gear into first, and you're gonna release the clutch. And he's like, wait, clutch, gear, what are you talking about? Because he's never driven. Just because you're in the driver's seat doesn't mean that you know how to do it all. And those are the basics, right? Today, he hops in and he's just, just goes, because now it's already his basics. It's the foundation, right? And it's the same thing here. Imagine you're in your car and somebody who has never been in a car, ever seen a car, and those people still exist, gets in, and you say to them, all right, buckle up, it's going to save your life. And they're sitting in the car and they're like, buckle up, what does he mean, buckle up? What is this? If you've never seen a seatbelt before and you've never been told what to do with that seatbelt, how are you going to know what that seatbelt is going to save your life, right? Those are the basics, okay? And this was my actual sad truth. This is coming from my own personal experience. I spent over $20,000 on all these different educations, academies, you name it. But whenever I used to ask questions, can you please explain a divergence? Can you please explain to me, what do you mean by resistance areas? What do you mean when you're talking about a long? I was treated as if though I was either born with this information or completely ignored altogether, right? And because of that, I struggled for years and I ended up losing so much money, to the point that I ended up losing almost $4,000 in 5 minutes. And after that, I quit. This was like 2 years in and I just quit. I was devastated. I felt so defeated. But here's the thing, and I know that everybody in this room has this issue. We are all bit by the trading bug. And the thing is, it never stops itching. And do you know why? I'll tell you why. Because deep down inside, we know that we can do this. We know that we can do this. When I was watching other people, I'm like, you know what? If they could do it, I certainly can. I'm smart enough. I just gotta do it right. And that's when I decided to go back to the basics. Like I mentioned earlier, I literally had 10 indicators going on. I had 3 monitors. So I took 2 monitors, they were practically new, high definition, and I donated it to the garbage man, more or less. And one thing about indicators, what I find is a problem is that we watch all these different quote unquote gurus, and this one is using this indicator, this one's using that one, and we tend to put them all on our charts. And a lot of times those indicators don't really work for us, right? And that's what happened with me was, I was desperately trying, excuse me, to make Fibonacci's, Bollinger Bands, and the Kettler Bands work for me for years. And then I decided when I came back, I stripped my entire charts. And when I got rid of them and started to put in other indicators, I recognized that those weren't working for me, right? And it became the source of relief when I finally got rid of everything. And it was a process of elimination. That's why today I'm literally down to 2 indicators because those indicators work for me. And it's simple. I was in constant analysis paralysis. I was constantly stressed out, and it does not work well like that, right? So, funny enough, about a couple of years ago, one of my students says to me, he's like, Marina, you are very similar to Coach John Wooden, your teaching process. And I was like, who's Coach John Wooden? I've never heard of this guy. I looked him up online, and of course, Coach John Wooden is was one of the most legendary basketball coaches to this day, right? He's just a legend. And his entire philosophy is when in doubt, get back to the basics. And I mean, this guy has accolades that I could never even come close to measuring, right? 88 national championships, 10 or 11 NCAAs. He worked with absolute superstars, right? But every beginning of the season, he would go to the basics: how to tie your shoe, how to roll up your sock, how to dribble the ball. Why? Because it doesn't matter what you know, but if you're out on the court and your shoe is untied and it falls off, you're going to sprain your ankle or break your ankle or pull a muscle. And guess what? You're out for the rest of the season, regardless of all the cool moves that you've got, right? Because you didn't put in that foundation. And that's what I am offering today. For you guys, I have a super special offer only for the people that are here today because I understand how important it is that you guys are here and live. I have a special only for participants only. It is my introductory course, Bootcamp for Day Trading. And you could do this on any apparatus, laptops, desktops, tablets, iPhones, you name it. And all of it for one price, one time fee, not recurring, one time, $97. Go here right now, bootcampfordaytrading.com. So put this in your URL right now, guys, bootcampfordaytrading.com, so you can follow along and see everything that comes with this program, bootcampfordaytrading.com. Now, what can you get for $97 today that will bring the same return on investment? So me and my husband, when we were living in Guatemala, we actually really enjoyed playing golf. And when we first arrived 15 years ago, we used to play golf and it was like $27 per person. Before we left, it was $119 per person. No joke, okay? Now, like to go out to dinner or lunch and take your friends and family out? Again, I remember a few years back, you could do pretty nicely for $97. Today, maybe it's a decent meal for 2 people with wine and drinks. Okay, $97 doesn't get you that far, guys. So what you're getting for $97 is absolutely an incredible investment. Let me break this down for you, okay? So first and foremost, we're going to simplify your whole day trading package. And I know the amount of challenges when you're setting up a platform, regardless of the platform you're going to be using, the charting platform. Like I said, I have seen them all. I can help you. I will help you completely do that because I have a 30-minute tutorial that we go over and I help you get through it so that we can get past the platform and get into the cool stuff, which is the actual trading. Then we go over the market anatomy, dissecting the markets, uptrends, sideways trends, downward trends, and understanding those magic telltale signs, understanding reversals, understanding divergences, really understanding all of that so that we can apply it. And once you get these in, guys, I mean, this is incredible. This will completely change and revolutionize your trading, and that's a guarantee. Okay, understanding how to spot those areas, how to spot resistance, support areas, draw them in. We go over all of that in complete detail and really focus on divergence. To me, divergence is probably the number one thing that I work with because that really shows me ahead of time when the market is starting to lose its strength. Okay, understanding and spotting the breakout trades. Like I said, breakouts are probably the most powerful trades out there, so we can learn how to spot them and also avoid those the fake out breakouts, because you can avoid them completely. Okay, when we can spot them and get into the good breakouts and avoid the bad ones, that's gold, right? And you'll have unlimited access to the entire curriculum. All of this is valued at $1,600, but you guys get it for $97. This is all that you will be getting, $97 one-time price. Here's what some of my students have to say, and I have students from all over the world because that's the beauty of trading, right? You can do it from anywhere in the world. Michelle, the feedback homework is invaluable. More than once, I thought I understood what I was doing, had it wrong. The best money I have ever spent. Derek, you are the only mentor that truly checks that work, and it is so incredibly amazing. Adrian, I'm so enjoying the bootcamp, and I'm learning every single day. Now, let me share something really, really important with you guys. Remember what I said in the beginning? How do you know that you are doing it right? How do you know you are doing it right? How do you know that you're doing it right, right? Who is there for you to be accountable to? How do you know if this is if you're seeing the chart correctly? So one thing that I have recognized that had totally changed my life was mentorship. And I am including in that one-time free of $97, 1 month, one-on-one feedback, one-on-one feedback, unlimited mentorship coaching with me for 1 month. That is absolutely invaluable, and that is going to take you to that next level. Now, the best for last. I also have a live chat room that every week we are in the live market implementing, taking live trades, and you will get free 30-day membership into that live trade chat room included in this price. All of that is valued at $2,600. You guys get it $97. So, like I said, go here, bootcampfordaytrading.com. Go to bootcampfordaytrading.com. Bootcampfordaytrading.com. Here's again what you guys will be getting for that $97. Everything that's included in this course. 30 days one-on-one mentorship, 30 days live chat room membership in here. And this is the reality. This is the reality. Everything I'm offering is less than the one trade price for one trade that you're taking, right? Less than the price for one trade. I know with me, my average trades are between $200 and $400, right? And I know that that's a pretty average. I know a lot of people are taking a lot more. Very few people take less than 200. This is $97, so it's less than the price of a trade. The cost of this course will give you 10x your return on investment so that you could go out for 100 more of these dinners and whatnot. Okay, that's the beauty of it. The thing is, guys, because of the mentorship that I offer, I can only open up to 25 spots. Okay, I can only take on 25 new students. So I recommend getting in because $97 is kind of a no-brainer. I'm here to help you guys. Just remember, $97 one time. Now, if you want to do like a payment plan, I do have a 2-month payment plan, $59, but you could still get everything immediately on there. This is not a recurring price. So go here. When you go to bootcampfordaytrading.com, it'll bring you to this order form right here. So go to this order form, bootcampfordaytrading.com. This is where you guys can get it right here. Okay, so let's go here. And if you guys have any questions, this is the best time to go for it. Let me know whatever questions you guys have and anything else. Okay, guys, let me know if you have any questions. And again, go to bootcampfordaytrading.com, and I'm happy to answer any of your questions and anything that you guys need. Please let me know. And thank you so, so much for having me here on the summit again, Sherry. It's always such a pleasure working with you.
I really appreciate you making the time to be with us. Anybody got any questions? We've got about 7 minutes left, and I know Marina would go back through some of the basics there for you if you need any of it. If we got any basic and new traders in here today? Excuse me, I cannot seem to shake this stupid cold.
Is it a cold or allergies? I've been having a lot of allergies. Thinking that
It's definitely some kind of cold, some kind of virus. Started with 2 days of fevers, which was really weird, but no coughing, no, VID stuff.
right.
So looks like
Oh,
you
I'm
told
happy to hear
everybody everything they need to know, my friend.
that.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm
I'm
gonna
happy.
post the link to your flash interview because it was awesome, where you shared your worst trade ever. And I think that that would be helpful for some people to be able to go and check out. So that is my option for B. There we go. What I love is how you explain how to get out of it too. That's the biggest deal about that. Steve is asking, are you able to set up our charts on all broker platforms?
So broker platform gets attached to your platform unless your broker has their own platform. So yes, absolutely. But you need to have a good platform.
Like, do you set it up or do you walk them through setting it up themselves?
I walk you through it because I don't want to teach you how to drive and drive for you. I want you to be
Yeah,
able to
really.
drive on your own.
Yeah.
But
You don't
yes,
need
you'll
to
be
know how the car works, but you got to know where the brakes are.
exactly.
So
Very
he
true.
says he has interactive brokers.
Steve, why don't you write to me personally and then I'll be able to help you. This way you'll be able to show me your platform. You could write me at thetraderchick@gmail.com and I'm happy to help for sure.
All right, I'm putting that in the chat too. All right, cool. Boy, we do have people from all over the world. That's awesome. And we've
Yes, we
Dale's
do.
out in Alberta. I'm in Ontario, heading to Florida tomorrow morning.
Oh, nice.
And then I know that we have other people like all over the United States watching. We've had quite a few register. And we are doing, I'm going to post a recording of every single session. It takes a while to do. It's not like, oh, here, put this up. It just takes a little while. So I'm doing them slowly in between each speaker. All right. Well, guys,
Well,
if
thank
that's
you,
all you got,
everybody.
I bet Marina's got something else she needs to get to today.
Well, thank you so much. And it was good hearing you, Sherry, as well. I hope you feel better.
I appreciate you coming in, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future. All the best.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye. All right. All right. Well, guys, that was Marina Villatoro, the Trader Chick. And I think her presentation is so great. She breaks it right back down. Well, look at that. What's that doing up there? I don't know if you could see that, but I just had something tell me it needed an update. She's at thetraderchick.com. I also posted her email in the chat. I posted the link to her YouTube video that we've put up for her that she made for us. We call them flash interviews. Bootcampfordaytrading.com is where you're going to find the offer for $97.